Hey BWell Buzz family, Larry here. Oksana and I are about to interview a really special couple. Erica and Stephen Rogers are experts in Chinese medicine. And we're going to talk about a really important topic, and that is stress. Stress causes our immune system to lower, and stress is all around us. And we're going to get into a really paradoxical topic of nutrition and how it may not impact how you feel. So let's dive right in and get into it. All right, welcome to the BWell Buzz podcast. Today we have the absolute pleasure of interviewing a power couple and their wolves, Stephen and Erica Rogers. They're developers of an amazing, powerful, adaptogenic blend called Shentrition. And we're going to talk about something that's really important. It's about a nutritional paradox. What you eat may not be determining your state of health. Now, before we dive into that topic, let's welcome Stephen and Erica and chat a little bit about what got you into this and your story.
Okay.
Hi. Nice to see you guys. I am Erica. Obviously, this is Stephen. These are what we call our wolf berries. They are hybrids. In Montana, it is common to find snow mixes. So they're part husky, part Malamute, and a bit of the wild, as we said.
And so they're predominantly wolf with a little bit of mix. This is Atlas. He's the puppy, 11 months.
They're 100%
This is Bella
cute.
sleeping over here. And this is China.
Beautiful.
And we are crazy dog people. We always have to introduce the dogs first. So I had to talk.
We did live in California.
And we'll be doing a Q&A with them as well later on, right?
Exactly.
Yes. And they do enjoy Shentrition from time to time.
They have been known to clean up our smoothies or whatever we have in our glass. They'll just lick it up. So let's get to how do we get to Shentrition?
Well, how did we get into this? My background, I started out as a personal trainer years ago and eventually became a peak performance trainer with some world-class athletes such as power lifters, bodybuilders, a few pro football players, a professional baseball player, even a professional golfer. Mm-hmm. And that led into body work and holistic medicine and an apprenticeship in chiropractic, which eventually led into classical Chinese medicine. Classical Chinese medicine, as you know, is one of the few true holistic practices on the planet. It's different from just natural medicine, meaning natural medicine gives us natural alternatives to Western allopathic medicine, whereas holistic medicine engages the entire individual to bring about wholeness or a form of integration between spirit, mental, emotional, physical, and environmental.
Right.
So classical Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, shamanistic medicine are probably the three purest forms that are still left out there.
Mm-hmm.
I came into the picture when I was studying, I started physical therapy originally at the University of Central Florida in Orlando, and I jumped ship right before I had to commit to the final years of the program. And that's when I met Stephen, fortunately, because he brought together sort of the holistic perspective. How does our biology, our physicality, our sense of well-being relate to our spirituality, and how it all goes together? And I said, oh my God, that's my degree. Where do I go to school? Mm-hmm. And he told me, yeah, you could spend the next, 8 more years going to school and do this, this, and this. And I said, no. I just want to get done right now. Yeah. So I went to liberal studies, health science, computer science a little bit, and went to massage school, studied yoga, studied wellness and nutrition, and had the fortune of apprenticing also with a Qigong healer, and as well as Stephen.
Okay, so as being a trainer, did you find that using Chinese medicine improved the performance of the people that you were coaching, and how did that impact?
Exactly. That's when I started to experiment with adaptogens. In classical Chinese medicine, we call them chi tonics. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. And I started to use 4 of them with all of my clients for the recovery time. And the stress that they were experiencing, or I should say distress, on their adrenal glands, because adaptogens are known for strengthening the adrenal glands. Mm-hmm. And as you know, recovery, anytime you tear down a muscle, recovery is key for getting stronger, getting faster, more endurance. So it would speed up the recovery time. Doing a little research, I found out that the term adaptogens was given to chi tonics by Russian scientists who were actually experimenting with these herbs with their Olympic athletes to help them recover faster. So I started using them with my clients. I got great results with my clients. And so I started to find out also that adaptogenic herbs, even though they have this overarching kind of prime directive of helping us adapt better and strengthening the chi reserves in the body, each of these herbs work on a different acupuncture meridian and associated organ themselves. So I started to, wherever I found deficiencies in each one of my clients, whether it was a spleen or stomach or large intestine or lung or heart, then I would use a specific adaptogen for that. So that was really the beginnings of Shentrition, is experimenting with those clients before I got into private practice in Chinese medicine.
Yeah, and especially seeing results.
Yes.
So
yes,
yeah. So I wanted to ask you a question. What are your guys' perspective on nutrition and, and health? Do you think what you eat really determines how you feel?
Absolutely, it does, without question. But what it's very difficult to explain this concept because the way Chinese medicine is practiced, a lot of your listeners have gone into an acupuncturist and they've gone in and experienced TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, not CCM, classical Chinese medicine. And TCM is fairly new. It's about 60, 70 years old. And when the Mao regime came in, pretty much anybody who could think for themselves scattered out of the country or they were killed. That's just the way it was. And most of the classical Chinese medicine docs left. So they had a population boom. And they needed an inexpensive way to medicate the masses in that country. So what they did is they created the Barefoot Doctor's Manual. And literally there's a guy on the cover that has no shoes, he's a barefoot doctor, a little pouch on the side. And within 18 months, they educated around 150,000 of these docs. Now in 18 months, they educated 150,000 or more of these so-called docs to go medicate the masses in a very inexpensive, affordable way throughout the country. This is a CCM, classical Chinese medicine, was a lifelong practice. If you or I wanted to learn this practice, we would have to go apprentice under someone to show ourselves worthy of learning all the different modalities within Chinese medicine. Basically, we would have to practice the first two branches. And the first two branches are the development of consciousness or spiritual development and the cultivation of chi, right? Awakening the kundalini. Well, in TCM, those were completely cut out.
That take too much time.
They cut all that out. And basically what they're teaching people is natural modalities. How to spinal manipulation, massage therapy, moxibustion, herbology, nutrition, acupuncture. They basically give them a whole bunch of a toolkit without any real power behind it. So that's what TCM is today. Now in classical Chinese medicine, as well as TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, they're taught this, but it's not being practiced right now. The primary cause of disease, and I know I'm getting around to answering your question. The primary cause of disease in the body is what we call the 7 emotions, or the errant negative emotional energies in the body. Traumatic injury, toxins, poor diet, poor lifestyle, those are secondary compared to the psychological underpinnings that go on inside the physical body. That is consciousness. What is actually happening in consciousness? So yes, I do feel as though nutrition is a powerful, powerful tool to help people. I also know for a fact, after working with thousands of patients, that you can take someone and give them the best nutrition on the planet and they still die. You can give them the best nutrition on the planet and they still don't get better. Why is that? Consciousness. Because consciousness is really the key to healing. And a lot of people out there already know this. And what do I mean by consciousness? Well, there's many aspects of consciousness. Everything's an aspect of consciousness. Even our physicality is conscious. But what I'm really talking about is the psychological underpinnings of the body, the somatics of the body. We know chi, energy, is energy in motion. And when that motion, or that energy is no longer in motion, or in the right kind of motion, it becomes stagnant and it creates dis-ease in the body. Yes. Well, what we don't think of about emotions is emotions are a part of that energy. If you take the word emotion, E-motion, it's energy in motion. Right. So when we're talking about chi, we are talking about emotions. So when emotions aren't correct, when they're not moving through the acupuncture meridians properly, unimpeded, and not erratic, not over too much or excessive, then they're creating health in the body. But when they're stagnant or they're errant in any way, then they're creating dis-ease in the body. So in your body, we have receptor sites in the cell. And those cells will actually accept or reject or not accept anything, a nutrient, something that has nutrient value to help that cell. And if consciousness is disrupted because of errant chi in the body, meaning it's not running properly and flowing properly in the body, then no matter whatever's in that nutrient, no matter how good that superfood is, it's not going to be so super for the body because the body's going to reject it or not even taking it. Now, stress, for instance, we think of distress a lot of times. We think of psychological stress, and we should, but it's kind of ambiguous. Well, how is stress really affecting the body, and how does that affect nutrition? Well, we know through Chinese medicine and other practices that specific emotional energies affect specific organ systems in the body, because every organ system has a related acupuncture meridian. And every acupuncture meridian has energy flowing through it, energy and motion. But specific lower emotional energies affect specific organs. For instance, anger affects, or irritability or rage affects the liver meridian. The liver plays a huge part in digestion. So what happens if I'm holding on to a lot of anger in my body? Do you think that possibly it could affect digestion? How about anxiety, worry, overthinking, pensiveness? That affects the spleen and the stomach. Do you think the majority of our culture experiences any of that? So I ask you, do you think that that affects digestion? If worry, pensiveness, overthinking is affecting the acupuncture meridian going into spleen and stomach. What about sadness, grief, melancholy? That affects the bowel, the large intestine, which there's still some digestion going on there. How about overexcitement? Being, I want to say overjoyed, just simply overexcitement. That affects the small intestine, a lot of digestion going on there. How about the gallbladder being affected by indecision? So we see that these emotional energies, we know through classical Chinese medicine and other practices, pardon them, sit down. Disrupts the flow of qi to these organ systems, and these organ systems are primarily responsible for assimilation of nutrients.
Absolutely. Well, that resonates as a high truth with me, because a lot of the symptoms that are treated nowadays, they're looked at, okay, you have a problem, let's treat it with something. And that something is usually, it's either a drug, an herb, something else, but rarely do we address the emotional, undercurrent laying behind that symptom or what's going on. And I think, like you said, that it's been kind of shortcut from, the dual approach of emotions and consciousness, and then using herbs to balance both of these things out, and looking at both of those two important parts of being as a whole. We just completely almost forgotten, or almost treat them separately. You come in with a problem, and it's automatically, the thinking is, oh, well, what is it that you should take, instead of, oh, what's that emotion that's underlying that symptom, or what's going on with you. So I think you're spot on with that, and it's an important thing to really address and get people to understand that our energy system is really controlled by our emotions and consciousness and what we believe and think, and the stuff that goes on in between our ears and in our hearts.
Well said. And we probably didn't explain it in depth enough, that what we're really talking about here in these emotional energies, or just these energies in general, are feeling states. And a feeling state encompasses more than just an emotion, right? An emotion can be happiness or sadness or anger, where a feeling could be awkwardness or insecurity. So a feeling would incorporate the idea, the thought process, and the emotional energy, and a physical sensation. So a physical sensation obviously would nail the physical aspect, and the emotion that's behind that feeling state would affect the emotional body, and then the thought processes behind that feeling state would affect the mental body. So consciousness and all of its tools, mental, physical, and emotional, right, wreak havoc on the body when they're not in balance. So whatever herb, whatever nutritional product we're giving the body, right, we also need to think and feel as though not only is this going to help us, but we also need to think and feel in alignment with the intention behind that that food product, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm. So have you had any experiences where you've helped someone where they thought they may need something nutritional, but you really found that it was emotional and helped them through that?
Well, I think someone always needs something nutritional. There's always something missing there. Even if it's not something extra, they need to be able to assimilate whatever they're taking better. So yeah, I think the nutritional component's always there, but there's always something psychological going on behind all disease or errant energies in the body. There's always, even a traumatic injury, accidents and mishaps and stuff like that, I find that, you know, it's a lack of attention or making bad choices or being reactionary almost all of the time. There's something there psychological in the underpinnings.
Mm.
Exactly. I mean, you absorb emotions, right? And it just kind of creates a certain pattern. So whenever that emotion comes up again, you know, it just magnifies that inner feeling inside that, you know, causes another chain reaction. You know, you eat something angry, you're like eating it quickly, and then all of a sudden you got indigestion. You're like, what's up with that? Well,
right.
Because you were angry.
Right.
Totally makes sense. And it just even, you know, letting people know to be aware, to watch how they feel and what they do, and then kind of put these two together and maybe, you know, see if there's patterns that is forming, and then just adjust accordingly. That even, you know, so powerful in its own.
Have you found that adaptogenic herbs also help release emotional flow, like taking certain adaptogens help release emotion?
Yes.
I would say yeah.
Yes, definitely. You know what adaptogens allow us to do, hence the name, adaptogens, they allow us to adapt to better to stressors. When we think of stress a lot of times, we really don't, it's ambiguous. We really don't identify with all the different aspects of stress. We might just think psychological stress, but everything is a stressor in life. Mm-hmm. This right here is causing some stress, and then psychologically, underneath the tissues of the body, I'm reacting to it. Mm. And so that's really the issue that's going on. And it either creates distress or eustress in the body. Mm-hmm. And distress and eustress really comes down to how well my body is adapting. So one thing may cause you distress, and it be eustress for me. Distress is catabolic in nature. It breaks us down. Mm-hmm. Eustress is anabolic in nature. We grow from it. It's like working out. We get stronger. And the muscle breaks down, and then we get stronger from it. Mm-hmm. So we want everything to be in the eustress category. That's what adaptogens really do, is they allow the organ systems and stuff to grow from these sort of errant, distressful, or stressors that happen in our lives. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times we play the victim, for instance, to our surroundings. We want to make our surroundings pristine. We want to make our diet pristine. We want to make everything just absolutely perfect. Yeah. And we create more stress for ourselves in doing so. Mm-hmm. What we forget, and there's a big movement out here, and there should be, to remove all the toxins from our diet, remove all the toxins from our environment, just remove toxins, period. But, you know, life, we're always going to have irritants. We're always going to have toxins. And thank God we have this system in our body called an eliminated system that removes toxins. So our perspective in Chinese medicine is not so much to remove every toxin from the environment, but build a strong host that we can remove toxins, and we get stronger and we adapt, and it becomes eustressful when we encounter a toxin. It's sort of like a prize fighter. He wouldn't go into a fight without sparring first. And that's kind of the way we look at it in Chinese medicine. Again, we should remove as many toxins as we can, but we should also learn to adapt, because if we don't start experiencing more eustress in the body through that practice, that sparring with all of these things, then everything becomes distressful because we don't experience it. And I see this a lot of times with people using specific cleaners and stuff. They're washing their hands all the time with Purell and stuff like that. You know, I tell people, I said, you would really freak out if you knew every time you pumped gas what you were putting in your mouth, because we almost all the time scratch our face afterwards or something. And, you know, most people don't know that when they're pumping their gas, they're probably getting fecal matter on their hands. And
fun.
So there's billions of microorganisms there that, you know, just that simple little thing. But our immune system gets strong from that. It adapts. So we don't want to rob ourselves out of that opportunity.
So using adaptogens actually helps build our immune system, because our body really, it wants to clean, and I mean, people eat the worst diet and, you know, pretty much eat cardboard and survive for many, many years.
Right.
I mean, that's a testament to the power of the body to actually heal and want to maintain itself. So I imagine like using adaptogenic herbs actually gives you more fuel to help rid the body of toxins and manage life in a world that's we're just surrounded by stressors all over the place, right?
Yes, most definitely. Certain adaptogens are used in high altitudes like rhodiola in Tibet to help them to adapt to the high altitude to get more oxygen. So there's better oxygen intake in the lungs from taking that adaptogen. So the big thing about adaptogens too is they allow and enhance what Hans Selye, the father of stress research, called adaptive energy. And adaptive energy is just another word for chi. So on a more important level, adaptogens are really going into the energy body, the emotional body, and strengthening that. We don't take, a lot of times we're thinking from a biochemical perspective, vitamins, minerals, micronutrients. Well, and that's fine, we need to do all of that, but more importantly, we need to really enhance the energy body that's behind it. And adaptogens really do that because, as you said, you know, the body, if it's under stress and if there's no food around, it will digest whatever available nutrient is available in cardboard. It will do it. It will do it. It will learn to adapt. What it's really trying to get out of that cardboard is the energy. It's trying to get that adaptive energy out of the cardboard. Now, of course, we would love to give it superfoods and all the best foods on the planet because that makes it a lot easier and the body doesn't have to go through so much stress and can adapt easier. But it's really the energy we're trying to get out of these things. And adaptogens do just that. They go right to the energetics in the body.
I agree.
Whatever it's needed.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like whatever we put into our body has a vibration. And that vibration, when you ingest it, I mean, everything that we put into our mouths is a drug, you know, quote unquote, or a vibrational frequency. So when we put that into our body, it does something to our physical, our physical and metaphysical self. So these things, they vibrate with our emotional body. Would you agree with that?
Yes, most definitely. Most definitely. So if our emotional body is vibrating a lot of anxiety, we're not aware of it because most people are unconscious to a lot of these things that are going on, or anger or sadness or melancholy or deep loss or something like that, then unfortunately what we're taking into our body is at best minimally assimilated, or at worst can even be turned into a toxin in the body because of the way that we feel. So it's important that, you know, we put ourselves in the right state of mind, in the right state of consciousness when we're eating.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to talk about actually your product, the Amazing Shentrition. We've been taking it daily for, I don't know now, like almost half a year.
Yeah, so
loving it. So
I'm wondering, like, what led you guys to actually create that formulation?
Well, we had a very extensive line, and it became cumbersome. And I had gotten into the chief complaint medicine early in our practice. People would come in with a problem, and we would treat the symptom, or the problem, the chief complaint. A lot of holistic medicine, or I should say natural medicine, has been westernized. And we use an allopathic model, even though we use different tools, the model, the framework is still the same.
It's very mechanistic.
Very mechanistic, you know, we're treating symptoms even though we say we're not. And then we changed our whole practice, and we had pretty much as busy as we wanted to be practice, and within about 6 months, it was like a ghost town because we only accepted members, and that is people that would go through our whole holistic program and commit to it. We no longer would take chief complaint patients. There were plenty of people doing that. We wanted people to take a top-down approach, that is, develop consciousness spiritually, and how to integrate that into mental, emotional, and physical health. So that's what we did, and that's how we developed this product. We had 35 different formulas for everything from back pain to bowel problems to you name it. And we just sold out of that entire line. I said, I just want one wellness product that's focuses more on, well, I can't even say the word on here, keeps people from getting sick. I can say that, but I can't say the word.
Right.
FDA would get really upset.
Yeah,
But,
Mr. FDA, man,
Yeah.
I have to just say, legally, this is not to help diagnose, treat, prevent, cure. This is only educational information, just so you know. Thank you. Okay, I'm done.
Anyway, I wanted one really good formula, and I had a lot of adaptogenic formulas. And we had greens drinks and superfoods and stuff like that. And what I always found with our adaptogens is people who were taking the whole foods with the adaptogens, they seemed to have a better effect. And of course, the whole foods were acting as a delivery system and the body was assimilating more of the adaptogens. Mm-hmm. So those were liquid formulas. We decided, well, why don't we just put the adaptogens with the superfoods, seaweeds, and everything else we're doing? It would act as a carrier and a delivery system. Also, it could give people the benefit of the detoxing benefits that you get from seaweeds and superfoods and stuff like that, that the adaptogens don't focus on as much. So that's how it came about. And that was it. We just went to one formula. And it was real easy because our practice really was devoted to helping people understand their role in health and wellness and not to be a victim. You know, in classical Chinese medicine, it used to be that when you went to one of these docs or healers or whatever they called themselves back then, that they would sit with you for 2-3 hours, however long it took, and do a long intake. Mm-hmm. And during this intake, they would ask you all kinds of questions. They could be about your relationships with your kids or your wife, or they could, you know, how you eat, do you eat, and everyone's talking around the table. But pretty much every aspect of your life was covered in this little questionnaire. And then they would send you home, not with herbs, not with any form of treatment. They would send you home for a month or maybe 2 months with a list of lifestyle changes and how to develop consciousness. That is, finding stillness within. And then you would come back, and if you still had a symptom or something, and all of that stuff, you know, it worked to a point, or there's some part of it didn't work, then they would use herbs, or they would use massage or acupuncture or moxibustion or something like that. Well, how many docs do you know spend that kind of time with a patient? They don't have the time to find out all of that anymore.
Yeah, none.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, that was the practice. We wanted to return to what we knew worked in our own lives, and we wanted to give that to our clients. So needless to say, the amount of clients that we could see, it shrunk way, way down. It went from seeing 100 people on a regular basis down to about 20. And it went from spending about an hour and a half a week, or maybe twice a week with one of those 100 people, to spending 10 or 15 hours a week with one person. And it was just a completely different model of practice. And we changed over about 75 to 80% of our clientele within 6 months.
Wow.
I want to ask you, because you guys have been taking the product now for a while, the best question I ever learned from Stephen when it comes to Chinese medicine is, how do you feel?
Good.
Well, we feel amazing. We actually we add it to our daily juices, and we feel amazing all the time. And what we like about this, it tastes really good. And it just adds another element to making our juices stronger and more fortifying. And I can't say, like, you know, we feel so good all the time. So, you know, taking this in, I just feel it balances us and gives us more strength.
For me, it gets me more focused. You know, I feel it's like, okay, the charge is on. I'm like, all right, good. All right, what's next?
More centered, more grounded.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So we're not running marathons or anything, but we're feeling really, really amazing from, you know, what we do normally, and adding this has been really great. Yeah,
we recommend it right and left. We have like probably 60 or 70% of all our friends on it already too.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Awesome.
And it doesn't, like, you would think, you know, all these different herbs would taste kind of funny and weird, but actually we've grown accustomed to the taste in our juice because it makes it tastier.
Yep, much tastier.
Yeah.
Well, if we didn't have that stevia in it, we might be hearing a different response. Pretty strong herbs.
So, I wanted to also touch a bit on what's actually in the formula, and, like, you know, can you talk about a little bit about ingredients and, like, what are the main benefits of the formula itself?
Okay. Well, the main benefits, of course, is the overall enhancement of chi, or adaptive energy in the body. And we know that chi is not only the whole basis for the body's movement and functions, but chi is also the mediator between what we call the immaterial, or consciousness, and the material, the physical, right? So that bioelectric force that allows our heart to beat, my hand to move right now, also gives us the ability to think and to feel. So that's the primary thing that it does. Of course, once that chi is strong and it's unimpeded, and this is the simplistic approach of this formula, the body will begin to do everything that it already knows how to do better than any physician or team of physicians on the planet can try to manipulate it to do. It knows how to heal. It knows how to regenerate. It knows how to function. All of that stuff's been going on for thousands of years in this body. It just gets weak. This adaptive energy, our ability to adapt, this chi gets really weak, or it gets stagnant, or it gets errant, and we really need more of it, and we need it to flow a lot easier, unimpeded. So what adaptogens primarily do is they strengthen that. Now, other things that they do, and we know that adaptogens will target the adrenal glands, and the adrenal glands are the primary mechanism for responding to stress or stressors, whether it be environmental, mental, emotional, physical. They help us to adapt better. They're our first line of defense in the immune system. Adaptogens also are some of the most powerful immunomodulators and immunostimulators on the planet. So they allow our immune system not only to be stronger, but also regulate itself, because sometimes the immune system gets out of whack and attacks the body. We don't want it to do that. So adaptogens are probably the last thing, most important thing that I like about adaptogens is the endurance effect. And we talked about this mostly, being able to adapt. And that's the key, is how well we adapt will not only determine the quality of our life, but it will determine the length of our life. And that's what they do. That's one of the things I like the most about them. I feel like that I can go longer at a higher level.
I think the most feedback we get from people taking Shentrition is what you pointed out, Oksana, was focused and then like calm energy, balance, and stamina. Those would be the things we hear a lot of feedback about. However, Mr. FDA man, again, we are not making any specific claims about this product in relationship to the properties of those individual ingredients.
Well, this is true. The formulation really, it is amazing, because our lives are pretty full on, and we're going full blast every single day. So adding this into our diet has been amazing, and we recommend everyone put it into their diet as well, because it will. Hopefully, we made the case of the power of adaptogens, and then putting this blend together. We actually, when we were doing acupuncture, we were doing a 30-day cleanse. We brought this to our acupuncturist, and he looked at the list of ingredients, and he was really impressed. And he said it was actually an ancient formula that was used in the past. And he's like,
yeah, it's like, really out of everything that I normally see, he's like, this is kind of what I would put together for you. Like, this is very well balanced formula that will just support your whole body from every angle. So
yeah, and we after going through the 30-day cleanse, we've managed to we lost a bit of weight, and we're feeling better than we ever have. So
yeah, we kept it off. It's been almost 5 months now. Kept it off, still feeling as we felt during the cleanse.
Yeah,
it feels good.
And that was a staple, and it still is a staple. So yeah, and that's why we're telling everyone about it, and hopefully more people will give it a shot, put it into their juices and into their even in water it tastes really good.
Yeah,
and
I sent it even to Ukraine. And my mom's like, what is all this? And I'm like, you don't need to know. Just add it to the water or make some juice and just drink it.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, it doesn't smell good. I'm like, just try it. So she tried it. She takes it every day. I was like, see, I told you. Just got to try it once and that's it. It's over.
I think Ukrainians use eleuthero a lot, Siberian ginseng.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got different set of plants. It's all good.
Yep.
It's all about supporting the body to be and do its best.
Right. Well, it's flattering to hear a fellow acupuncturist or Oriental medical doc out there has actually appreciated the product. We took a lot of time trying to create a balanced product. As you know, there's no product that's perfect, and there's always someone out there that this product doesn't work for. But we wanted to get away from this treatment that everything needs a specific formula and set of herbs and stuff like that. And we just wanted something that would enhance the body's own natural ability to heal. That's it. And we also wanted to do it in the most holistic way, meaning we wanted to use adaptogens that focused on all of the meridians of the body, at least the 12 regular meridians that affect the 12 major viscera in the body, and, or I should say the 12 major systems in the body. And that's why we built this product the way we did. And we wanted to avoid it being too hot or too cool or too cloying or anything like that. So it's a lot of years in the making. We've had to make shifts and changes, you know, working with patients and stuff like that. But I would say it's about as idiot-proof as you can get with the formula out there.
Right on. Well, I think with that, I just want to invite our audience to give this a try. With all the stress that's going on around us, I think it's important to put the odds in our favor to support our bodies and our emotional bodies. And I want to thank you both for taking the time to share your story and the product with us.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. It's been amazing.
Thank you for having us.
Big thanks to you. And I know we lost a couple of our little wolfberries, but we'll say goodbye
Alice
from
says
one
goodbye.
of them.
Okay.
They're just seriously 100% adorable.
See, completely safe.
All right, thanks again.
You.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as Oksana and I did. And we want you to try Shentrition in your body and feel the difference that it can make. So we spoke to Stephen and Erica to put together a special offer for you, our Be Well Buzz viewers. What we put together is 3 bottles. You're gonna get the third one at half off, which comes to about 20% off each bottle. But it's only for the first 50 people. There's a link just below this video. Don't waste any time. Take advantage of this offer. Let us know how it makes you feel, and we'll see you next time.